Welcome to the Painting Profits podcast, where we interview successful painting business owners and industry leaders who can help you scale your painting business to seven figures and beyond. I'm your host, Mike Williams with ClickWiz, digital marketing for painting contractors, and I'm here with our guest, Andrew Tomassetti. Andrew is with Paint. They're out of Philadelphia, and he's been one of our clients for a couple of years now, and it's been just a real treat to be alongside of him because he was really, you're pretty new when we started working with you. Your business was pretty new. And so the rapid growth that we've seen in such a short amount of time with your business has been really fun to watch. So let's, before we get into it, tell us your story and tell us how you got into the painting business. What was your path in life that led you to that?
Yeah, well, first, Mike, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, and it's been fun working with you as well. I definitely attribute some of our early success, if you will, to all the hard work that you guys have done for us. So to answer your question, a little bit about myself. I've always been an entrepreneur, right? So growing up, school was never really my thing. I had a lot of fun in high school. Wasn't the best student, but
I can relate.
Right. But I always found, a way to, make money. I was always hustling, grinding. I think even, when I was like in the third grade, I had a lemonade stand set up where, we were selling trading cards or, whatever kids do. So fast forward, not a great student. And it's, hey, well, what's next after you graduate high school? And I actually joined the Marine Corps. That was the next step for me. I joined the reserve. So I went away. I did, some entry-level training, and then I came back here to Philly. And going through all that training, it was really a wake-up call for me. It was the most difficult thing I ever have done. And or at least to that point in my life, it was the most difficult thing I've ever done. And I came back and I was like, wow, if I can do that, I can do anything, right? So I started going to school. I went to Temple University. It's a local school, and I'm like, oh wow, like what's the hardest thing I can study, right? Because now I have all this like grit and ambition, and really a different mindset from just a few years ago. So I'm like, all right, let's pick mechanical engineering. So turns out civil engineering, when things aren't moving, is just a little bit easier. So I ended up, switching to that and graduating with that degree. But during my time there, I think it was maybe my freshman year, I got the bill for tuition. And I was like, whoa, this is really expensive. I need to figure out a way to pay for this, right? So I actually started a moving business, and quite frankly, it wasn't that legitimate of a business. It was me and some buddies moving stuff, and it was great. Helped me pay for school, and I managed to get out without any debt. But so I started that business, and also when I was in school, I was like, wow, I really miss the Marine Corps. Like, I think I want to do this more full time. So I go talk to they're called a OSO, and it's an officer selection officer. And he says, yeah, like you can be a pilot or you can do some sort of ground job. And my eyes light up. I'm like, wow, I can be a pilot. I thought you had to be like a Boy Scout and have 2400 SAT and, just be this incredible person, which I certainly was not at the time. So I signed this, flight contract, and fast forward 4 years, getting ready to graduate, have this moving business, and I'm waiting to commission, right? So I can go to flight school. And because I was just kind of waiting around, I had some more time on my hands, and I was looking around, and I was like, oh, wow, like this moving thing is great, but the jobs only last for a day. I wonder, maybe I could paint some rooms and those jobs will last a little bit longer, right? So my painting company is born just as a side hustle. Your classic chuck in a truck, if you will. So I'm getting ready to commission, and it turns out that my eyes were not good enough to be a pilot. So yeah, that didn't work out. Yeah, they're important. They're also important in painting, but just not as much.
Yeah.
Right.
Depends on who's cutting in, right?
Right. Exactly. So it was basically, back and forth, and did a bunch of crazy eye therapies for about 2 years. And then, still swinging hammers, renovating kitchens, bathrooms, painting as, your prototypical chuck in a truck, because I thought I was going to be a pilot. Didn't work, came back to Philly, and I was like, well, I think there's a tremendous opportunity in this industry. So we rebranded into paint, hired some painters, and started a more legitimate business.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, that's my son is actually looking to be a pilot in the I think he wants to do Coast Guard. He wants to fly helicopters. So thankfully he has good vision, but we'll see if he can do the whole college thing. I don't know. He's not such a great student either, but I think he'd be a great entrepreneur. So
yeah.
So anyway, back to you. The what's your current revenue?
This year we'll produce somewhere between 1.6 and 1.7.
Okay, great. And let's see, you started back in 2020, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So how long did it take you to get to that first 1 million a year mark?
Yeah, so our first year we did around 800, which was right during COVID, and it was like honestly the best time to start a painting business.
Yeah.
Like everybody was doing projects, and you really couldn't have started during a better period in time. So I think I contribute that a lot to doing that our first year. Our second year we broke the $1 million mark, and we did around 1.2.
Wow. Yeah, it was crazy going into COVID. That first month, everybody was freaking out. Like we didn't know what was going to happen, and then it turned out to be one of the best things to happen for the contracting industry in general. Yeah, but like all things, good things must come to an end, right?
Right. I don't know about that. The industry and the market is so large. I think that gave us like a great starting off point and kind of a good launch. Mm-hmm. But there really is so much business and so much opportunity out there. You just need to go and get it.
Yeah. So what were the things that you did in that first year to lay the groundwork? Get your name out there. There was a lot of demand out there, but you still got to get your name out there and do the marketing. So what was the first things that you did in that first year?
Sure. So, of course we filed all the paperwork. We had someone make a logo for us, and then I think we also had to make a website, and we were like, all right, we're in business, and no one called us.
Yep.
So we started knocking doors. So It was, hey, I noticed you had some peeling paints. I'd like to give you free estimate. And at that time, I didn't really know anything about anything. So we were kind of, floundering along. Definitely got some leads from that, but, we never sold the paint job. So
wow.
they never really went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, we were doing some door to door, and then we had this website, and I want to say we started running like Google ads to it. But the website wasn't converting, meaning it wasn't built into a ClickFunnels. So even if people were going and landing on the site, they wouldn't take action. Right. So then I think, I just got tired of knocking doors and said, hey, there has to be a better way. And then we did some research, talked to a couple people, and we found you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was that was back early 2021, or was it late 2020? I forget. But yeah. And so when you were doing the Google ads, were you managing that yourself, or did you have another agency working for you?
Yeah, I never ran Google ads on my own. It was another agency.
Okay.
And then, I think at that time, we didn't have a whole lot of money, and I took out a small loan, because I was like, all right, we need these services, we need SEO. I was like, all right, well, Mike, here's my last couple of $1,000. Let's see how it goes. And I even remember there were times like those first few months, and when we first got started, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be like, oh man, am I going to be able to afford my mortgage this month? But it all worked out.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm glad you didn't tell me that at the time, because that would have put a lot of pressure on me. But yeah, we always have a lot of pressure on with our clients anyway, because we always want to get that return as quick as we can for them. So
but and especially at that under $1 million mark, or if you're just starting or you're bootstrapping and don't have tens of thousands of dollars to play with, right? Like, there's every last penny really counts.
Absolutely.
So I can imagine you have a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah. So what are your top lead sources now?
So organic Google search is the top. Repeat and referral is at the top. Let's see. Let me pull it up. Organic Google search, repeat, referral, and lawn signs are our top 3.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So what percentage of your revenue do you reinvest in marketing?
Yeah, we aim for around 10%.
And you guys are doing quite a bit of social media too. Are you able to track how many leads come from that? Sometimes that's hard, but are you tracking that?
Yeah. So I have a lot of crazy ideas. I'm sure you get my emails.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like Sunday afternoon when normal people would not be working, and that was an idea that I had this year. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go all in on the social media thing. Let's just put a lot of really great content out there. And quite frankly, we haven't seen a return from it. I think that maybe once people are in your pipeline already, would be good to, start the pre-sales process. But from what I've seen, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money to get it really dialed in and producing results. So I think next year we're probably going to focus, our efforts elsewhere.
Okay. Well, to balance that out, though, social media is one of those those things that you often don't see an immediate or direct return on. But it does help with your branding, and it also has a great effect on your SEO. So all of the activity on your social profiles does help that. So that could be part of the reason why your organic rankings, we were able to get top rankings so quickly for you, was because you're very active on social media. And so even though you're not seeing a direct lead from that source, it is helping you. Do you at least track your engagement on your social media channels?
Meaning views, clicks?
Yeah, views and clicks, comments, things like that, shares.
Yeah, we do a much better job tracking our lead sources.
Sure.
And tracking all of our revenues and where everything's going. We don't do a great job tracking engagement on social media.
Yeah, it's one of those things that doesn't give you, like I said, it doesn't, you don't get direct leads from it. But yeah, I'd be curious. I'm going to have to pull up your social media channels and see how your engagement is, because, I see a lot of really great content on your social media channel. So anybody that's listening, I highly recommend you go check out their Facebook and Instagram. Andrew really posts a lot of great content on there. So if you need some ideas, check them out. Let's switch more into operations. You use subcontractors for your production, right?
We do.
Okay. You have no full-time painters that work for you?
Correct.
No. So what are some of the problems that you've solved using subs that maybe you can help others avoid?
Sure. So I think that whether you use subcontractors or W-2s, you're going to run into the same issues. All it is how you pay someone. That's been my experience. Even like when I was painting and I would hire people, right, more that W-2 model, I would have the same issues. And I found that I even had more issues with W-2 employees than a subcontractor, if you will. And I think that is because your subcontractor, he's an owner and he feels responsibility and pride in the job because he also puts his name on it. I also think it's humane, may be the wrong word for it, but more humane, right? Because I can give Jamie a job. He can work really hard. He can make great money. And then he can do another one and another one and another one. And he can provide way more and, at the end of the day, make more money, and he has more opportunities being a subcontractor than a W-2. And with a sub, you only have, one person that you're, corresponding with, whereas with W-2s, you have, if you have one crew, that could be up to 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I find at the end of the day, as long as like you treat people right, it's the right fit for the job, then it works great.
Yeah.
And just like you would with a W-2, probably in the first week of them painting for you, you're going to know if it's a good fit or not. Yeah. Same thing with the subcontractor. And the ones that it's a good fit, they love working for us. They stick around. We take care of them. They take care of us. And the ones who aren't a good fit, it's very evident, and then we just go our separate ways.
Sure. What's your process for finding and hiring good subs?
Yeah, good question. So our process for finding and hiring um, good team members is that we like to start with referrals. Um, and there's a really good book. It's called Who, the A Method of Hiring. Um, and what I forget the gentleman's name. Um, anyways, whatever his name is, um, what he recommends is, before you go to any job boards or um, like online listings, is to contact your current sphere, right? Um, so a lot of our painters came from referrals. So it could be referrals of other contractors that we know, or people that we've met at the paint store. Or another great source for finding painters is asking our current painters.
Yeah. Okay. Um, do your subs, do they wear like branded T-shirts, or do they just how do you manage the that with the customer that this crew is with your company?
Yep. So they'll either wear our t-shirts or just like plain white Sherwin-Williams t-shirts.
Okay. All right. Cool. Do you ever plan on bringing any crews in house, or are you going to stick with subs?
Yeah. In the short term, no. Long term, maybe.
All right. So if let's say we had to drop you off in a brand new city, having starting a brand new painting company. You've had a lot of success with this one. What would you do differently if you had to start all over again?
Yeah, everything.
But you have to have a painting business. Don't say
Yeah.
don't say I wouldn't do painting.
No, I would say I'd probably do everything differently. I've probably made every mistake that you can, every mistake in the book I've made. Um, and it's just a giant learning experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I would do a lot of things differently.
Yeah, yeah. The mistakes are part of the process, though. Like some of those things you have to learn on your own. You try to learn and read and learn from others as much as you can, but some mistakes you just got to make and learn from them.
Right. And that's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
Um, you just have to, you want to set yourself up for success, right? So you want to read and educate yourself and take as many courses as possible. But you can only do that for so long until you actually have to execute. Um, and then if you make a mistake, you just adjust accordingly,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And the most important thing is to just keep going. Don't let those mistakes and hiccups stop your progress. You just gotta get right back on the horse, right?
Right. It's The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. It's the dumb tax.
I love that book. I
Yeah.
just finished that about a month ago, and man, so many golden nuggets in that book. Like if
Yeah.
I wish I would have read it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But,
We've paid the dreaded dumb tax many, many times. And it's pretty incredible that you can make all of these mistakes. You can pay such a high dumb tax. And at the end of the day, what is so great about the painting industry is that you can still be profitable and, make money.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's always room for growth. Um, so, what are your plans? Speaking of growth, what are your plans for the company moving forward?
Yeah. So our goal, we want to paint 10,000 homes by 2030.
10,000 by 2030. And how far are you now?
Let's see. That's a really good question. Let's do some math.
Yeah, just a rough estimate.
Yeah. I would say
We need some
maybe,
Jeopardy music.
right, maybe 700 homes into that.
Okay. All right. So you got a ways to go, but
Oh, we certainly have a ways to go.
you can make it. All right. Well, think that's all the questions I have for now. I really appreciate you coming on the show with me here and sharing some of your story. And like I said, it's been really neat to watch how quickly you've hit the ground running with this company, and just watching how dedicated you are to growth and tracking, and it's just really neat to watch. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike.